So that's a little bit James Taylorish there. I wanted to visit today just the whole notion of finger picking and hammer-ons, and also how to connect from a 1 to a 4 chord or from a 4 to a 5 chord, in this case in the key of D. So I was listening to some early James Taylor yesterday and really appreciating the just that whole thing he does with his hammer-ons. Like, you've probably heard that if you're a fan of his, or any other fingerstyle guitarist, really. So I want to talk a little bit about, because a lot of people, I get a lot of requests for this, how to have the connective tissue, how to explore the connective tissue between chords, rather than just going from a strum to a D to G back and forth. That part, that's fine. But sometimes you want more. You want to embellish it a little bit more, and especially a song like a James Taylor song, or a song that you might be writing that has that in it. So I just want to address first in the key, in the key of D, I got a D chord and I play it this way. As you can see, I get the first finger up here, and then on the second fret of the G, and then I take my third finger on the third fret of the B string, and then I tuck my second finger on the F sharp note, which is the second fret of the high E string. There's lots of ways you can play D. This way, I think, lends itself to hammer-ons. So the first hammer I'm going to show you is, you got your D chord, right? And you're going to take your second finger and lift it off and then bring it on. Okay, that you recognize already as a very, in my mind I'm going to Carolina. Okay, that's a very James sort of sound. So I'm leading down with my thumb on the D string. That's my target note. Okay, so just that much is kind of a cool thing already. So if I'm doing a song that incorporates, for instance, a 1-4-5, like a DGA, it's going to sound something like this. So you'll notice I was doing a little bit extra there. So what I did was I worked on the first one I showed you, which is this. And then what I did was I tucked my pinky under. It's another nice move. Very easy. And this is actually a good exercise if you're not used to using your pinky. We were trying to figure this out the other day. I was talking to my partner Jason. He goes, how come you use your pinky so much? And I realized, I think part of it is because I play slide with my pinky. And that's almost like, it's like lifting weights with your finger, and it got me into using my pinky a lot, which, why wouldn't you use it if you got it? So many ways you can. So in this case, back to the D chord. So I'm hammering on the F sharp note. And I'm pulling off too, check it out. So if you do a hammer on and a pull off, it sounds like this. Almost like a pedal steel. Now you can either pick that note, or that's a little more advanced. So that's a pull off, right? You're using your second finger to pull off. Takes a little practice. Okay, so incorporating that move and then taking it to a G chord sounds like this. And what I'm doing there on that G is, there's obviously many forms of G. There's this, and then I'm using this one where I do my third finger on the B string, third fret, my pinky on the third fret at the high E. I like the sound of that G. It's it's optional. You can do a regular G like that. The other thing is, you'll notice I'm minimal movement from here. You notice that? You see that? I'm hardly moving. It's a really easy change. So you don't need to get all convoluted with your change from his. You want to make it as easy as possible, right? A couple more moves. chord, I want to just show you a few more things. One thing you can do when you're going to a D chord, I use this a lot as a lead up. You'll hear that a lot in R&B, folk music, whatever. What I'm doing is I'm using my open A and my open D string, and I'm hammering on. Okay? And what that does is it kind of sets up the D chord. So if I'm doing a song, say, see how that works? It's a lead up. There's a million different ways to do that. I do it, sometimes I'll go, depends on the song. Or it could be more of a country. But the point is you're utilizing your A and your D string. And I like this one. I like the hammer-on the 2nd fret. Nice little phrase, huh? I hear that train whistle blow. See how you can utilize that? Or, so these are just little kind of connective tissue, I call them, ways to connect the two chords. So now that we've explored a little bit like an intro to D, I'll give you a walk up to G. Nice little passing thing. That one's pretty easy because once again you're at your D and you don't have to change around too much. You're basically leading up to your G chord by just going like this. And you're on it. So that's the open E string, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 3rd fret. 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 3rd finger, 3rd fret. Or, if you prefer, that's fine. That's probably better. So I would go 1st finger, 2nd fret, 2nd finger, 3rd fret, and then land on that G. I think that's better. So here's what it looks like. Pretty simple, right? So let's go. I'm going to go back and forth now a couple times. I just want to show you all the different options. They're endless, actually, but I'm going to mess around a little bit between that D and that G. D, G, D, G, D, G, back and forth, before we get to the 5 chord, which is an A. And that's the resolve or the turnaround, okay? So I'm going to just play a little bit and see what happens. See how many options you got there? You got the little, it's a little trill. So those 3 or 4 moves that I just showed you right there are very simply a way to get from D to G, or from the 1 to the 4. It's specifically good in this key because you got those hammer-ons. And you find it really useful. There's walk-downs, walk-ups, hammer-ons, pull-offs, all those things are kind of the embellishment that really makes this kind of music interesting. Okay, so we've been back and forth from the D to the G. So let's see what happens when we go to the A. Okay, so I'm going to play the A, really simple version of A. I'm just going to take my 1st finger and lay it across the 2nd fret. I'm not even going to worry about that high E for now. Now normally we could play an A like this, that's fine, and sometimes that makes sense, especially if you're going, you can also play it like this, which I do quite often. And by the way, all these different versions of chords, there's no right or wrong, it just depends on what's comfortable for you. It also depends on what you're trying to accomplish within the chord. Like if I'm playing an A string, like A chord like this, like that flat out, I'm open to doing this, which I really like as a passing chord. Nice voicing, huh? So that is the third finger on the fourth fret of the G string. So it's pretty simple because you got the A chord, and then I'm coming up with the third finger and putting it on the G string, fourth fret, and that's going to lead you back to your D. Now I'm showing you this stuff because I'm trying to give you the special sauce, right? That makes a 1-4-5 a lot more interesting, especially if you're a singer or a songwriter. Because if you're just playing, strummy strum, that's cool. And then you're going to your A. That's, in a kumbaya kind of way, that's fine, that's great. But I think you want more than that. I think you want to go deeper and make it interesting. That's where this comes. All those little pickups, right? There's your A. There's that. Okay, so the last move there, I did a little walk down from the G. I went, and then I walked from the second finger, third fret, low E, first finger, second fret, then open E, and that's going to take you back to your D. And these are important because that's how you resolve. So that was a walk down. So we got walk ups, walk downs, hammer-ons, pull-offs. And there's a lot more too, but I wanted to show you a little exercise in D that you can practice. So I'm going to play you out with this and give you a couple examples of where you can go with it. Maybe some of which I didn't show you yet, but I just want to give you something to look forward to. So here we go. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you down the road.